The blinding illumination of stadium spotlights has a unique way of turning a simple architectural structure into a modern amphitheater of collective human emotion, where tens of thousands of voices merge into a singular, thunderous roar that can be heard miles away. For decades, Wembley Stadium in London has stood as the ultimate proving ground for the world's most ambitious musical artists, a legendary arena where careers are solidified and where the boundary between a standard performer and an immortal pop icon is permanently crossed. To step onto that sacred grass and look up at the towering tiers of expectant faces is an experience that very few human beings on this planet will ever truly understand, requiring a rare combination of absolute charisma, physical endurance, and an unyielding connection with a global audience. In the modern era of music, where digital streaming and viral social media clips often replace the tangible magic of live connection, the stadium tour has become the last remaining frontier of pure, unadulterated showmanship. A place where singer cannot hide behind studio production or clever editing. Every sweat drop, every vocal inflection, and every single movement is magnified 1,000 times over on massive high-definition screens, transforming an individual artist into a larger-than-life figure operating under the microscopic scrutiny of the entire world. It is within this colossal environment that the true nature of celebrity is tested, as performers balance the immense pressure of delivering a flawless spectacle with the unpredictable reality of live theater, where anything can happen in the blink of an eye. As we begin to peel back the layers of a truly unforgettable night in contemporary pop music history, we invite you to become a permanent part of our community by subscribing to this channel, ensuring you never miss our deep, comprehensive explorations into the moments that define modern culture. The atmospheric energy surrounding a multi-night stadium residency is entirely different from a standard one-off tour stop, creating a self-contained universe that slowly takes over a city and builds a sense of community among those who travel from every corner of the earth to witness it. When a global phenomenon settles into a historic venue for an extended period, the stadium itself becomes a living, breathing monument to their art, with fans lining up days in advance, creating makeshift villages, and sharing a collective anticipation that defines an entire summer. This particular tour, known worldwide as the Together Together Tour, represented the absolute pinnacle of artistic independence and commercial dominance, serving as a victory lap for an artist who has spent more than a decade evolving in the public eye. The sheer scale of the operation is mind-boggling, involving hundreds of crew members, complex staging mechanics, and a meticulously designed sonic experience meant to reach the furthest rows of the upper decks without losing a fraction of its intimacy. Yet, despite the mechanical precision required to run a show of this magnitude, the magic of the performance always relies on the human element, the spontaneous interactions, and the raw vulnerability of a performer who refuses to be swallowed up by the massive scale of their own stage. It is a delicate dance between the scripted grandiosity of a multi-million-dollar production and the chaotic, beautiful unpredictability of a live concert, where the mood of the crowd can shift in an instant and where a single moment can completely alter the narrative of an entire tour. As the final nights of this grueling yet triumphant journey approached, the tension in London was palpable, with ticket holders sensing that they were about to witness something truly historic, a culmination of years of hard work, personal growth, and public adoration. To understand the weight of this specific moment in time, one must appreciate the sheer magnitude of a 90,000-person audience, a sea of humanity that stretches out as far as the eye can see, creating a deafening wall of sound that can physically shake the concrete foundations of the stadium. In an environment like that, the performer is not just singing songs, they are commanding a massive psychological collective, guiding the crowd through highs and lows, fast-tempo anthems, and quiet, acoustic ballads that force a giant arena to feel as small as a crowded living room. This ability to shrink a stadium is what separates the merely famous from the truly legendary, requiring an innate understanding of human psychology and a willingness to be entirely present in the moment, regardless of the distractions. On this particular Saturday evening, the climate inside Wembley was charged with an almost electric intensity, a mixture of the bittersweet realization that a monumental chapter was drawing to a close and the pure joy of the present experience. Every single person in that audience was armed with a smartphone, creating a vast, decentralized network of cameras ready to capture and broadcast every micro-movement to millions of people online within a matter of seconds. This hyper-visible reality means that modern pop stars exist in a state of perpetual surveillance, where an artist is simultaneously performing for the physical crowd in front of them and the invisible digital audience spanning the globe. It is a high-wire act of the highest order, where a single misstep, a cracked note, or an unexpected wardrobe anomaly can instantly become global news, dissecting the boundary between the carefully curated public image and the authentic, unscripted human being underneath. As the sun began to set over the London skyline, casting long shadows across the historic venue, the stage was set for a performance that would be talked about for months to come, not just for its musical brilliance, but for the profound emotional undercurrents swirling beneath the surface. The artist at the center of this storm had spent the last several years transitioning from a manufactured teen idol into a critically acclaimed, boundary-pushing solo force, capturing the imagination of a generation with a message of inclusivity, love, and retro-inspired showmanship. This evolution was on full display as the introductory music echoed through the stadium, sending a literal shockwave of adrenaline through the crowd as they prepared to embark on a multi-hour musical journey with their idol. What the audience did not know, and what the performer themselves could not have possibly anticipated, was that this final night would become a masterclass in handling the unexpected, proving that true professionalism is not about never making a mistake, but about how one recovers when things go sideways. The atmosphere was ripe for something extraordinary, a perfect storm of nostalgia, massive pop hooks, and raw human emotion that was about to unfold in ways that nobody in the stadium could have predicted as the first chords of the final segment began to play. It was a moment suspended in time, the calm before a digital storm that would soon capture the attention of the global internet, reminding everyone that even the biggest stars on Earth are ultimately just human beings navigating the absurdities of live performance under the brightest lights imaginable. The precise moment when a high-energy pop concert transitions from a highly structured musical performance into an unscripted viral sensation is often invisible to the naked eye until it has already unfolded on a massive scale. As the familiar, upbeat, retro synth chords of the global chart-topping hit, as it was echoed across the vast expanse of Wembley Stadium, the crowd erupted into a frenzy of synchronized dancing and collective singing, completely immersed in the triumphant finale of a historic 12-night residency. At this specific juncture of the show, the energetic momentum was at its absolute peak, requiring immense physical exertion from the performer who was running across the massive stage, interacting with fans, and pouring every remaining ounce of energy into the performance. Caught up in the sheer passion of the musical climax, the iconic 32-year-old singer dropped dramatically to his knees on the stage floor, a signature theatrical move designed to match the emotional weight of the song and create an unforgettable visual for the tens of thousands of people watching from the highest tiers of the arena. However, it was exactly during this sudden downward movement that a sharp flash of realization cut through the performer's adrenaline-fueled focus, as a glance downward revealed a highly unexpected and potentially disastrous wardrobe malfunction. The metallic zipper of his custom designer trousers had completely given way, leaving his fly wide open and inadvertently exposing him to the front rows of the audience and the ultra-powerful lenses of thousands of smartphones recording his every move. Instead of succumbing to immediate panic or allowing the embarrassing mishap to interrupt the flow of his most famous song, the veteran showman demonstrated the absolute peak of professional composure and quick thinking. With a calmness that can only be developed through a lifetime of performing under the intense pressure of the public eye, he discreetly reached down while still on his knees and smoothly zipped his pants back up, executing the corrective motion so subtly that many casual observers in the stadium did not even realize what had occurred. After fixing the opening, he remained on the floor for several additional seconds, taking a deliberate moment to catch his breath and regain his physical and mental composure while the massive crowd continued to scream and cheer, completely unaware of the internal mini-crisis that had just been averted. The contrast between the high-stakes panic of the situation and the singer's cool, unbothered reaction highlighted the unique reality of modern stadium tours, where the line between a flawless spectacle and a viral catastrophe is incredibly thin. Within minutes of the final notes fading into the London night, the decentralized network of fan cameras had already begun their work, and high-definition clips of the discreet wardrobe fix started circulating rapidly across major social media platforms. The global internet community immediately seized upon the footage with a mixture of amusement, admiration, and playful teasing. transforming a potentially humiliating oversight into a celebrated moment of authentic human relatability on the platform formerly known as Twitter, now recognized globally as X. Users immediately began dissecting the video with characteristic humor and sharp wit, generating thousands of posts that quickly trended worldwide. One user light-heartedly quipped that it is a unique challenge when an artist is completely overcome with deep artistic emotion, but then looks down only to realize they almost gave over 90,000 people a completely free view of their premium package. Another dedicated fan joked that it simply wouldn't be an authentic experience on this specific tour if the singer's fly wasn't open at some point during the show, referencing a long-standing history of chaotic and eccentric fashion choices that define his public persona. A third commentator raised a highly practical and slightly alarming question, pointing out that since the mishap was noticed during the very last song of the setlist, there was no telling exactly how long the zipper had been down or how many people had noticed it earlier in the evening. This digital breakdown of the event quickly spread to TikTok, where the narrative shifted slightly toward affectionate sympathy and protective adoration, with millions of users labeling the quick-thinking moment as incredibly cute and endearing. Many fans began to empathize deeply with the internal monologue of the superstar, with one writing that internally he must have been absolutely panicking and wondering how long he had been walking around Wembley Stadium with an open fly. Another viral comment remarked that the singer was undoubtedly thinking to himself, begging that the internet wouldn't find any revealing side shots captured by the professional television broadcast or the thousands of fans sitting along the wings of the stage. This light-hearted and humorous wardrobe incident provided a moment of comic relief during what was otherwise an incredibly heavy, emotionally charged and milestone-marking evening for the British singer and his dedicated global fan base. The Saturday night concert did not just represent the conclusion of a highly successful individual tour, but it served as the grand finale of a massive 12-night residency at one of the most culturally significant and intimidating venues in the entire world. To sell out Wembley Stadium a single time is considered a career-defining achievement for any musical act, but to occupy the venue for 12 distinct nights requires an almost unprecedented level of commercial relevance and cultural impact in the modern music industry. As the final evening progressed, the weight of this accomplishment seemed to wash over the performer, who visibly shifted from a high-energy entertainer into a deeply reflective artist, recognizing the long, winding road that had brought him to this pinnacle of solo success. The crowd itself could feel the shifting atmosphere, as the collective joy of the music began to mingle with a shared sense of historical significance. Knowing that they were witnessing the closing pages of a monumental chapter in contemporary pop music history, the energy inside the stadium became dense with anticipation, as everyone present sensed that the artist was preparing to address the audience in a way that went far beyond the standard scripted thank you speeches that usually conclude major stadium productions. The true emotional core of the evening began to reveal itself when the singer paused between songs to address the sea of faces directly, his voice echoing clearly through the massive stadium as he prepared to look backward at the origins of his extraordinary journey. Standing alone on a stage where he had just commanded the attention of 90,000 people, the artist deliberately chose to share the glory of his massive solo success with the people who had stood by his side during his formative years in the music industry. In a deeply moving and unexpected tribute that immediately hushed the raucous crowd, he openly acknowledged that his presence on that legendary stage would be completely impossible without the foundational experiences and shared dreams of his past. He spoke with a raw, unvarnished sincerity that captivated the audience, deliberately shifting the focus away from his individual accolades and redirecting it toward the collective history of a phenomenon that had defined the previous decade of pop culture. This public display of gratitude set the stage for a profound moment of reflection that would resonate deeply across the globe, bridging the gap between his current status as a solo titan and his unforgettable roots as a member of one of the most successful vocal groups in human history. The tension in the stadium transformed from the light-hearted amusement of a wardrobe malfunction into a profound, shared emotional experience, as the artist prepared to utter names that many fans had been waiting to hear spoken on a stage of this magnitude for years. Standing beneath the immense architectural archway of Wembley Stadium, the solitary figure under the spotlight delivered a speech that would instantly reverberate through the global music community, bridging past triumphs with a poignant present reality. Looking out at the vast sea of 90,000 emotional faces, the 32-year-old superstar made a deliberate choice to express his deepest gratitude toward the four individuals who shared the very beginning of his meteoric rise to global fame. In a moment captured by thousands of shaking smartphones and later broadcast to millions online, he gushed that he would not be standing on that historic stage if it were not for four friends of his who were a massive, irreplaceable part of this incredible lifelong journey. With a cracking voice that betrayed the heavy weight of nostalgia and grief, he stated clearly that he wanted to publicly thank Niall, Louis, Zayn, and his dear departed friend Liam, acknowledging that these monumental stadium nights, everything he had learned during his time in the spotlight, and the deep bonds of friendship would be entirely impossible without them. He concluded his emotional address with a simple, devastatingly honest admission, stating to the roaring crowd that he quite simply would not be here without them, before offering a final heartfelt thank you to the tearful audience. This public tribute carried a profound, heartbreaking weight for everyone present, serving as a direct and tender acknowledgement of the tragic reality that had forever altered the brotherhood of One Direction. The mention of his dear friend Liam Payne cast a somber, reflective shadow over the celebration, reminding the world of the fragile nature of life behind the glittering curtain of extreme global celebrity. In October of 2024, the music world had been plunged into a state of absolute shock and mourning when Liam Payne tragically passed away at the young age of 31 after a fatal fall from a third-floor balcony at a hotel in Buenos Aires, Argentina. This sudden and devastating loss had sent shockwaves through the global fan base and deeply impacted his former bandmates, who had all been thrust into the intense cauldron of international fame together as teenagers. The band had originally been formed back in 2010 after each member auditioned as solo contestants on the British reality television singing competition The X Factor, where music mogul Simon Cowell and guest judge Nicole Scherzinger made the historic decision to combine their individual talents into a single vocal group. Though they ultimately finished the competition in third place, their unique chemistry and undeniable charm sparked a global phenomenon known as Directioner Mania, catapulting them to a level of commercial success that rivaled the historic cultural impact of the Beatles. For 6 intense years, the group traveled the world, shattered records, and released hit after hit before entering an indefinite hiatus in 2016. A pivotal transition point that allowed each individual member to embark on their own highly unique and successful solo creative journeys as the final chords of the Wembley residency echoed into history. The singer's personal life was also taking center stage, illustrating a profound evolution from a heavily scrutinized pop heartthrob into a grounded, mature individual building a stable future. Earlier in the year, major media outlets had exclusively reported that the talented hitmaker had quietly become engaged to his longtime partner, the acclaimed actress and director Zoë Kravitz, marking a major milestone in his private life away from the screaming stadium crowds. This stabilizing chapter in his personal life stood in beautiful, mature contrast to the chaotic tabloid frenzy that had defined his early 20s, a time when his high-profile romantic relationships were constantly dissected by the international press. A stark reminder of that highly publicized past occurred during the Friday night concert at Wembley, when he delivered an intense, emotionally charged acoustic performance of his 2017 solo track Two Ghosts, a melancholic breakup song widely believed by fans and critics alike to be heavily inspired by his brief, intense relationship with global pop titan Taylor Swift, whom he dated between late 2012 and early 2013. The performance of this specific retrospective song felt incredibly timely and symbolic to the public, as it unfolded on the exact same weekend that Taylor Swift was celebrating her own major life milestone across the Atlantic Ocean in an extraordinary convergence of major pop culture events. The very same night the British singer was pouring his heart out on stage in London, Taylor Swift was marrying her longtime partner, Kansas City Chiefs star tight end Travis Kelce, in a star-studded, highly exclusive ceremony held at the legendary Madison Square Garden in New York City. Due to his massive, immovable professional obligations to his tens of thousands of dedicated fans waiting for him at Wembley Stadium, the singer was naturally unable to attend the high-profile American nuptials in person. However, the deep, interconnected web of modern Hollywood friendships ensured that his presence was felt, as his new fiancée, Zoë Kravitz, who has maintained a deeply close, fiercely loyal, and decades-long personal friendship with Swift, traveled to New York to celebrate the monumental wedding. This fascinating crossover of paths highlighted the unique, insular, and often surreal world inhabited by these global superstars, where personal milestones, historic stadium concerts, and the echoes of past relationships constantly intertwine under the unyielding gaze of the international public. The ability of these artists to maintain their professionalism, support one another's current happiness, and honor their shared histories while simultaneously delivering monumental performances to millions of people is a testament to the incredible resilience required to survive and thrive at the absolute summit of modern popular culture. As the final stadium lights were turned off over the historic London venue, marking the official end of the massive Together tour, the narrative of the entire residency crystallized into a powerful testament to human growth, resilience, and the enduring power of music to unite people across generations. What began as a high-stakes musical spectacle, temporarily punctuated by a light-hearted and thoroughly human wardrobe malfunction that captured the playful imagination of the internet, ultimately transformed into a deeply profound meditation on life, loss, and the eternal importance of remembering one's roots. By openly mourning his fallen brother Liam Payne and publicly lifting up Niall, Louis, and Zayn in front of 90,000 people, the solo icon proved that true greatness is never achieved entirely alone, but is built upon a foundation of shared struggles, collective dreams, and enduring love. The 12-night residency at Wembley Stadium will not be remembered merely for its staggering ticket sales, its flawless production design, or its viral internet moments, but for the raw, authentic humanity displayed by an artist who refused to let the immense scale of his celebrity disconnect him from his past or his emotions. As fans filed out of the arena into the cool London night, carrying memories that would last a lifetime,